Chromosomes. Little strands of nucleic acids and proteins are the fundamental genetic instructions that tell us who we are at birth. Most people are born with 46 chromosomes, but each year in the United States, about 6,000 people are born with an extra chromosome, making them a person with Down syndrome. If you've ever encountered someone with Down syndrome, you know that they are some of the kindest, most joyful people you will ever meet. They truly have something extra. My name is Lisa Nichols, and I have spent the last 24 years as both the CEO of Technology Partners and as the mother to Allie. Allie has something extra in every sense of the word. I have been blessed to be by her side as she impacts everyone she meets. Through these two important roles as CEO and mother to Allie, I have witnessed countless life lessons that have fundamentally changed the way I look at the world. While you may not have an extra chromosome, every leader has something extra that defines who you are. Join me as I explore the something extra in leaders from all walks of life and discover how that difference in each of them has made a difference in their companies, their families, their communities, and in themselves. I'm thrilled to have Teri Griege on the show today. Teri is an author, speaker, cancer survivor, and 3-time Ironman competitor. Teri, I'm just so delighted to have you on the show today with us, and I've read your story. I know your story. I've heard you speak, but this is a great opportunity for our listening audience to get to know you too, if they don't already, which they probably do, but I'm so excited to have you here. Can we just dive in, because there's a lot of things I want to talk about today. Tell us a little bit about how you grew up.
Well, Lisa, I was born here in St. Louis, and my mom and dad were both from St. Louis, so we have lots of roots here. I have 2 older sisters. I was a late-in-life baby, so my sisters are 13 and 14 years older than me. I married my high school sweetheart, very much a typical kind of St. Louis story. We both went to private schools. We're married. I was a practicing nurse for about 20 years. We have 2 children. My son now is 30, and my daughter is 26. I can't believe it, which is absolutely wonderful. And, we're just St. Louis bred. I'm very, very proud of my hometown.
I am too. I love St. Louis, and I'm not from here, but I say all the time, we're definitely St. Louisans now, so very proud of our hometown. So in high school, you were involved in sports. What really drew you into sports? Did one of your siblings or a parent or a coach, a teacher? How did you get into sports?
I'm not really sure, except that I can remember as 8 or 9 years old playing bitty basketball in the YMCA league, and I would be so excited about going. Couldn't wait for the weekends to go play in this little basketball game. And then I was introduced to swimming when I was about 7, competitive swimming, just on a summer league, and I loved that too. And I was really ended up a pretty good swimmer, and I really believe that when you're good at something, you want to do it more. That little bit of success feeds the soul. So I became a swimmer and then just did a lot of high school sports and loved it. Once I got into college and nursing school and then marriage, I really kind of gave that up and didn't do too much, maybe a little tennis and a little golf here and there, but was reignited that flame in my mid-40s, actually. So took quite a break.
Mid-40s. And what did you do in your mid-40s? How did you start? Did you start swimming again? Did you start running? What did you do?
I ran a marathon.
You ran a marathon in your mid. So there's still hope.
There's always hope. There is always hope. You're right.
Now, did you train? Did you go through Fleet Feet, or did you do some sort of training to get ready for that?
So I mentioned I have my 2 older sisters, and each of them have 2 girls. And so I'm actually closer in age to my 4 nieces than I am to my sisters.
Oh, my goodness.
And it was in July of 2002, my niece stopped by my house and told me she was going to go run the Chicago Marathon. And I thought, well, having the competitive spirit that I do, if she's going to run that marathon, I'm going to run it too. And it was kind of before marathons were really the thing to do. I mean, now I think lots of people have the opportunity and choose that goal. Mm-hmm. But back then it was a little bit more under the radar. And so we, in October of 2002, we trained together and went to Chicago and finished the marathon.
What an awesome thing to share with your niece.
Oh, it was amazing. It was probably my first introduction to kind of community and sport.
Well, okay, so you ran a marathon. But then you went on and you did something even bigger. And I've got a lot of friends that have done Ironman competitions, and I'm always just amazed at that. So you went on and you did a couple of Ironmans in Louisville, Kentucky. So what inspired you to do that, Teri?
So after I did that first marathon, I joined a gym and I started taking spinning classes. The spin instructor said, maybe you should try outdoor cycling. So I bought a bike, got into cycling. I had always been a swimmer, so that was an easy one to pick up. Way back in the day, I can remember seeing Julie Moss, a commercial on TV or something like that, literally crawling across a finish line in an Ironman competition. And crazy as it sounds, I thought, wow, that looks pretty amazing, So I knew I knew a little bit about triathlon for a long time and had that kind of as a outside goal. And I happened to have qualified for the Boston Marathon. This was like in 2006, and I was watching TV and the Ironman competition while I was training for Boston in the middle of the winter. And the Ironman competition came on TV, the World Championship. And as I watched that, actually the story was about a young man. They picked 4 or 5 inspirational athletes from around the world and tell their story. Probably the most famous being Dick and Rick Hoyt, the father that pushes the son.
I have seen that, yes.
I watched that in 2006. It was about a young man named John Blaze that had ALS. And his dream was to do this Ironman, the World Championship. And as he said no matter what, he would finish that race, even if he had to roll across the finish line. And as he came down that finishing chute, and I'm watching this on television, he literally got down and rolled across the finish line. And his parents came and knelt next to him, and I just started crying. And I thought, I want to do that. And that's what started my
kind
goal.
Kind of sparked
it
that
did.
fire inside of you.
Yep.
Wow. I mean, it has to be, Covey says start with the end in mind. You probably had to visualize yourself, didn't you, Teri, like crossing that finish line? I mean, that's the goal, right? But I'm sure you enjoyed the journey as well along the way and training for that.
I absolutely do. I mean, even to this day, I don't really compete. I say I participate, and I don't have any plans on doing another Ironman because I had the opportunity to cross the greatest, I think, finish line ever in the world. And I've really achieved all of my physical goals that I have set out. For me now, it's the purpose behind the drive. And
right, and we'll get into that. I do want to get into that. So you did 2 Ironmans, and that was that 2007 and 2008 or
2008 and 2009
in Louisville.
Yep.
And then you had what I call a life interruption. Tell us about that.
2008, I had come in 5th in my age group in Ironman Louisville, and the 4th place woman qualified for the World Championship. So I had this goal that, I can train smarter, better, do all these things, and possibly qualify for the World Championship in 2009. So I went back to Louisville. But as I was training in the spring and the summer of 2009, I just didn't have... I had a foot injury that wouldn't heal. I was tired. I thought, well, maybe I'm overtrained. I'm a year older. I started having some bleeding. I thought, well, anybody that sits on a small seat on a road bike for 100 miles, could have issues. All these things. But I said, after I finish the race, which was in August, if I don't start feeling better, still having issues, I'll go see a doctor. And I was only 10 minutes slower than the year before. I didn't qualify, but true to what I said, I mean, our bodies are just amazing. I called, actually, a good friend of mine's husband was a gastroenterologist. So 2 weeks later, I had a colonoscopy. And when I woke up from the colonoscopy, as you say, my life was interrupted. I always say my life changed in the blink of an eye, a snap of a finger. And he came in and said, you have colon cancer. It's a very large tumor, and I want you to go over and get CAT scans. And
those are scary words, aren't they? I recently was at the Siteman 20th anniversary of the Siteman Cancer Center, and someone was speaking, and she said, it's just those words, you have cancer. You have cancer. And she said, it's just almost surreal, but just some of the scariest words.
Well, your life is never the same as the nanosecond before you hear those words. But I always like to keep in mind, Lisa, that everybody has a cancer, which is an adversity. And it's all in how you what you choose to do with that and how you frame it and how you move forward.
Yeah, because I've read you saying that. Everyone has a cancer. It could be a financial cancer. It could be a relationship cancer. Everyone has something, right? But it's how you deal with it. And I look at your story, and we'll get into it, but I just look at you, how courageous, Teri, you were during all of that time. And not just courageous, but, we'll get into what you're doing today. Talk to me a little bit about when the doctor came in and said you had cancer. I mean, what were your first thoughts?
Well, originally I thought this is going to be a little interruption. I thought, being a nurse, we'll just go in, we'll do a colon resection, we'll cut the bad part out. There might be some hiccups along the way, but it'll all seriously would just be a short interruption. So I really just thought no big deal. And I think somewhat self-preservation, I didn't think about going over to get the scans. I mean, we just went and did it. But it was that evening when I got the phone call that it had metastasized to my liver already, that the reality set in. And I had, in between that time, the coming home from the hospital and getting the phone call, I had Googled the American Cancer Society and colon cancer, and it said stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and when it got to stage 4, it said a 5-year survival rate of 6%. And I shut down the computer and went on about my day. So when I got the phone call that it had moved to my liver, which put me in the stage 4, my first visual was of my daughter on her wedding day in this beautiful wedding gown and my 2 sisters standing next to her. And it was almost like I was floating above her, looking down, and my sisters were saying, if your mother was here today, she would tell you what a beautiful woman you are inside and out, and what a fantastic mother you're going to make one day. And, just those things that now we laugh because I'm like, my son was not even on my radar screen. We kind of joke about that. But
just your daughter.
Just my daughter. Poor Kyle. No.
But we love you, Kyle.
That's right.
You just think about
that comes back around. I'll share that in a little bit.
Okay,
but that
good.
comes back around. So.
Awesome. Very good. Then, in other words, Teri, you're a miracle.
Absolutely.
You are a miracle that you're here sitting across from me, when 6% survive, right?
I call it the 6% rule. Somebody's got to be in the 6%, so why not be me?
Right, exactly. Well, I love that. So talk to us then about what was your road to recovery? What was that like? I mean, how long did it take? You went through chemo, you went through radiation, I'm sure.
So I was diagnosed at age 48. I like to always take a minute and talk about colon cancer and do a minute of educating because I know we can save lives.
Do.
So you should start screening at 50. Now, American Cancer Society says that really you should start screening at 45. So this is a new initiative.
Okay.
Because the rate in young people as early as in their early 20s is skyrocketing. So thank you, one, for having me here today so I can just put a little plug in about that.
Right.
And the reason I so firmly believe in that, Lisa, is because 2 weeks after I was diagnosed, I said my sisters were older. They were in their early 60s. They had never had colonoscopies. They both went. One had precancerous polyps, and my other sister diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. So I call myself an accidental advocate. Everybody needs to know about their family history. That's what's really important to me.
It's so important. And, sometimes we think we can put those things off, but we know research has shown us that the earlier you catch it, right, Teri?
So colon cancer is the one cancer that can be prevented. It's treatable and beatable if found early.
Yes.
So I had my colonoscopy. I had radiation. I had chemotherapy. I had a colon resection, liver resection, more chemo, and then I was placed on, that took about a year, and then I was placed on maintenance chemotherapy, which I was on for about 8 years. I had 2 reoccurrences, one again in my liver, and then it metastasized to both my lungs, so then I had bilateral lung resections. Here's where the miracle comes in. I've been on a chemo break for about 18 months. We monitor my condition with scans and lab work, and I just say I make the most of every day.
Every day.
And I kind of live in 3-month increments and just an attitude of gratitude.
Yes, I love it. Well, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be back with Teri. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to take a second and tell you about something our team at Technology Partners can do for your business. We have spent over 2 decades partnering with organizations and helping them solve their IT needs from a 360-degree perspective. A huge part of how we solve those needs is by developing custom applications of all shapes and sizes. If your team is looking for software and an out-of-the-box solution just isn't right, it's time to consider how we might be able to help. Go to tpi.co/custom apps and learn more about our awesome capabilities. So, Teri, the road to recovery, that had to have been a really hard time for you. So how did you maintain your positivity during that period of time?
That's an interesting question. I get this a lot. And there's really 2, I think, big storylines in my life. And the other, besides dealing with cancer and living with cancer now, it would be that I'm a recovering alcoholic and addict. I'm proud to say one day at a time, I just celebrated 26 years of sobriety, continuous sobriety. So people ask me a lot, like, how do you deal with your cancer? And basically, I always say I have an outline of living, and that would be the 12 steps. And I took many of those principles and applied those to dealing and living with cancer, too. So acceptance, turning it over one day at a time, all those little tools, life tools that I've learned, I just was able to utilize that when dealing with this other adversity.
So can you run through a few of those? You just did, but for people that don't know the 12 steps, I mean, if this is something, and I've heard this from so many people, that the 12 steps can apply in all sorts of situations in your life. Do you remember those?
I think I just really touched on probably the ones that are most important to me. A lot of times people say, I can, he can, I'll let him. And that can be a community of people, that can be your faith, that can be anything. But I think the whole idea of that you're not alone, that you don't walk through your journey by yourself, there are others to support you. It's about accepting, it's about moving forward, it's about how you frame things, it's about one day at a time.
I live by that motto. You know, we have a special needs daughter, and I remember after she was born, somebody just said, don't look too far in the future. Just take one day at a time. And sometimes that's all you can do, right? That's all you can handle is one day at a time. So I love that. I think that's great advice for anybody going through some sort of adversity. So you had kind of alluded to this before, and you said you got to cross the biggest finish line that you could imagine. And I'm assuming that was your Ironman in Kona.
Correct.
Is that the one that you're referring to?
Yes.
So talk to us about that. So you were diagnosed with cancer. You went through your road to recovery, and then in 2011, you actually got to do the Ironman in Kona.
So I never gave up that idea of fulfilling this huge dream of going to the World Championship. The summer of 2011, so I'd been through treatment for a year and on maintenance chemo for a year. I sent my story into Ironman, and that's where my Kyle story kind of comes in. I did this little email, and I said, look, use a cancer card. I used the 5-year 6%. I said, I have 3 goals now in life. One is to live long enough to celebrate 25 years of marriage. 2 is to live long enough to see my daughter and my son get married, my dream, not theirs, and 3, to do the Ironman World Championship. And the next morning, I woke up and I had a response. And they get tens of thousands of these emails. So one of my messages is, your dreams, your goals, put them out there. They can come true.
Yes.
And so then in October of 2011, they accepted me. I said that they tell, 5 stories. Little did I know that my world would come full circle. I talked about being on the treadmill and watching John Blaze roll across the finish line. And so in 2011, 35 friends and family, my doctors, we all went to Kona, Hawaii. And that's when I talk about never alone and build an army, and I crossed the finish line. And it was, I wish everybody could have that experience. Whatever your finish line is, I wish you could have that experience.
What did it feel like, Teri?
I can't
what were
even.
your emotions? Not even describable?
I can't even describe it.
Indescribable.
I have a YouTube video of it, and we can add that link if you'd like.
Okay.
But it was, you just can't put words around it.
Right. So what I love about you is that you went through this, but you didn't stop there. You founded the organization that you are the founder of today, Powered by Hope.
Correct.
And I'm a big acrostic person, and I didn't realize, Powered by Hope, that sounds great, but the hope, the acrostic is how ordinary people endure.
Correct.
And I love that. So tell us about Powered by Hope and, what you're trying to do to build awareness out there.
So Powered by Hope, I got the slogan when I was going to Kona. I wanted everybody to have a T-shirt, and I thought, what can I put on this T-shirt? And in the middle of the night, that motto came to me. And since then, there's been a book written, and it's called Powered by Hope. And then people kept saying, they were just inspired by my story. And I wanted to be able to give hope to other people. And how could I do that? And it came to me in the form of a medal. When you hear the words you have cancer, that truly is the greatest race of your life. And if I could have a symbol of hope, which was a medal, to mark their race, then that would be something that they would have. And then there are these coins of courage. And this is part of our Powered by Hope mission, is to touch those, anybody really. We inspire, we recognize, and we support those touched by cancer. So that's really what the Powered by Hope mission is about. We've kind of formed our own community, and probably the largest part that I'm very proud of within this is under support is really we go out into the community. We have a Powered by Hope team for cycling at the Pedal the Cause event. We have probably close to 250 members right now. We've raised almost $1.7 million for cancer research, and it's about encouraging and uplifting one another on a daily basis. And hope is not just about that there's going to be a cure for cancer. Mm-hmm. It's truly about, as I walk through this adversity, how can I make the most of every single day? Mm-hmm. Is it your faith? Is it your friends? Is it your family? What and how can I do this to the best of my ability?
Amazing.
And I really believe, in order to keep something, you have to give it away. And so it's just really this dichotomy, like the more, and you can tell I'm just getting all excited right now because I feel like the more I can give hope and inspire others and give it away, the more I'm filled.
Right.
It's crazy.
It is so true. I always say, there's an old proverb, it's more blessed to give than receive,
right.
And people, you're like, really? But when you do that, it certainly is. And for you, Teri, you've been through it, so nobody can, really step into those people's shoes like you can, and somebody that's actually been through what you've been through, and just to give them hope. So what is your mission today?
I always say I have two major goals. It's to inspire others and to save lives. It's
Very
pretty
good.
simple.
Well, you're definitely doing that. I know you are. Just by telling your story, the awareness, and the one thing that I was thinking about when you were talking, about how you just knew something wasn't right in your body.
Right.
And that I hear that so many times because I've done a lot with American Heart Association. And one of the things they say, nobody knows your body like you do. Nobody feels like you feel. So if you feel something, go have it checked out. Don't wait, because you're going to know your body and how it normally feels. And it feels abnormal, go get it checked out. What's the harm in that? But sometimes we just think, I'll do that. Yeah, it's probably just this or that. So if people don't take away anything else, make health a really high priority.
Right. Absolutely.
Danforth wrote a book a long time ago called I Dare You. And one of the things he says, he calls it the four-legged stool. But he says in that book, wealth cannot buy health. It doesn't matter how rich you are. If you've got health issues,
right.
Wealth cannot buy health, but health can buy wealth. So his big four-legged stool, and his number one was his health. He had to keep himself healthy to do everything else for his family and his relationships and his career and
sometimes I
faith
believe
and
that
everything
people
else. So,
are afraid, of what might be found. And I am not grateful that I got cancer, but I am so grateful for all the blessings that it has brought me. Would I ever dream I'd be sitting here talking to you today or being able to help other people or living my life like an open book? Mm-hmm. No. But this is more than I ever dreamt of. I've lived more in the last 10 years than I lived in 40. And for that, I'm forever
You're very
grateful.
Awesome. I love it. Well, I want to talk to you about something extra. So what do you believe? I know that you've got not a team, but it is a team. It's a community. Mm-hmm. Is there somebody in your life, Teri, that you've observed as something extra? And I could surmise all kinds of something extras in you and what you think every leader needs, but I want to hear it from you.
This is what I love. I get to watch other people now share their experience and their strength and their hope. And it might not have been something that they would have been comfortable with before, but cancer changes you. And it brings about parts, I think, that they never knew that they had. And
right.
It allows them to step out of their comfort zone. And they realize that giving others hope, sharing their stories, gives people inspiration. It shows them the way, one of the roads to go, and it gives other people hope. And that's what I just love watching others give back and do these things, is they navigate their own journey and their own adversity.
Very good. Well, Teri, we're coming to the end of our time here, but I want to talk to you. I want to give you an opportunity. If there's anything that you want to tell our listening audience about, maybe something that they could participate in that's coming up or anything like that, I want to give you the opportunity to do that.
Thanks, Lisa. Well, you can find Powered by Hope on the internet at poweredbyhope.org. We have a Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram. Really what I would say is, if you want to give hope to others, you want a medal or a coin, we give those out. You can contact us through our website. But if you'd like to join our team, Powered by Hope, for Pedal the Cause, that bike event takes place the end of September 28th and 29th. You can find pedalthecause.org. Really, we'd love to grow our team. We'd love every penny of every dollar raised goes to cancer research. St. Louis is an unbelievable city, so generous. So
Very
the event is completely underwritten. So 100% of your fundraising goes to cancer research and stays here in St. Louis.
And where does it start? Like where, downtown?
It's in Chesterfield.
In Chesterfield.
Sure. So you can ride, anybody can, and that's why I'm like, watch out, Lisa, here I come.
I may have an ass coming.
A spin bike. They have a spin tent in the amphitheater. It's so cool. And then you can ride anywhere from 10 miles to 100 miles. There's something for everybody. And it is, I always say if I can get one person there, they're sold. They're back every single year. So
it sounds like a great event.
It is.
Great event. So if you're interested, get on the internet and join the Powered by Hope team to raise money for cancer research.
Thank you.
Teri, thank you so much for being here with us. It's just been a delight.
Well, thank you, Lisa. I'm honored to be able to share my story and to give hope to others.
Very good.
Our show today is executive produced by Brian Muncie. Our technical producer is Daniel Williams. Something Extra with Lisa Nichols is a Technology Partners production. Copyright Technology Partners, Inc., 2019. For show notes or to reach out to Lisa, visit tpi.co/podcast. Don't forget to leave a review on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or wherever you listen.